Dr. Priya Parmar, and you are in the right place. This is a mental health channel dedicated to helping us live our best lives and have our deepest, most profound relationships with ourselves and with others. Here today, we are in India. We are in Agra. We are in the city of the Taj Mahal, one of the epic, most iconic symbols of love and of India. And with that, I'm here in a country of my cultural origins. And this leads me to ask the question, who am I? I mean, I'm American, and that's my birthplace. I have a birth certificate and a U.S. passport. I'm American, but, people are always asking me, where are you really from? Then you could say, am I Indian? Well, I don't know because, yeah, you've got my ancestry. However, I'm not the most fluent in the language or even the ways of this country anymore. And, people notice that I speak with a different accent and carry myself differently than I would if I were just living here all the time. I mean, am I Indian? Am I both? Well, I think that's a concept to be explored. Am I both? I mean, however, that could be quite fragmented. India, America, how do those come together? Or am I neither? Am I just something else, an outsider, something totally different? They say A, B, C, D. American born, confused, they see. I mean, I can take that. I can take that, guys. But, as a doctor, I know that identity isn't fixed, all right? I mean, I'm a psychiatrist, and people come in and they don't always tell me, I knew I was this person at the age of 6. It is a concept that we are constantly developing, all right, by our surroundings, by our political beliefs, by our cultural beliefs, and by our education. So identity is a constantly shifting concept in people, right? However, if it shifts too much, you become totally anxious. You could become dissociated. You could develop a delusional disorder or frankly become psychotic. So who am I? What is my identity is something that I believe needs to be explored and cultivated in a person. So, knowing intellectually that your origins or your ancestry is in India and culturally and through being born or citizenship in America, you're American. I mean, logically, you got some truth and you got some values there. But emotionally, what is the yearning for? The yearning is for how do you look? How do you present yourself? What stories do you resonate with? When people talk about ancestral histories or the foods that they grew up with, it isn't necessarily Big Macs, I know there was huge issues with diet in evolving for my family into America versus, living in India and, eating a diet mostly of rice and different types of spices and different types of uses of sugars and of fats. It was very different, but I could go on and on about that. So food is a very important identity issue. Then the thing is, how do you bring these ideas together? You could I moved to India to just be Indian, and that was quite an overwhelming experience. I'm used to a different culture. I'm used to being with people from different viewpoints and trying to come together and understand what do we believe in. I'm also used to a level of freedom that being in America gives me versus living in certain ways in India. However, all of that is changing here in India too. I want to put that in. India is modern and evolving. But one of the things is in America right now, it's so interesting because it used to be a country of immigrants, and immigration was one of the celebrated aspects of America. And right now, it's a bit of a different vibe and different feeling. I can tell you that racism can be openly celebrated, and our vice president has been accused of, of normalizing Indian hatred. So you've got that going on. And if you don't have a secure identity of who you are and your value in society, it can cause a tremendous amount of anxiety. And we're dealing with that in America right now. So here I am in India, grappling with that. Who am I? Here it comes. Here it comes, guys. This is the big way to deal with that kind of existential anxiety. I've developed this saying, and the saying is, home is inside me. Home is inside me. When I'm in a situation where there may be people who are wondering, who am I really? Where do I really come from? Or places that may have permissive beliefs that immigration has been a bad thing for America and that I actually may be stealing someone's job who could have had my job, or all kinds of beliefs are out there. And, that's other people's issues. But for myself, I always come back to the concept that home is inside of me. And that is something I believe can help so many people, regardless of their ethnicity or their cultural background. It's something that we can develop, whatever cultural background we come from. The idea that we come home to something inside of us. For example, going to a new school, entering a whole new family through marriage, moving to a new job. These are all areas where we have to shift our identity and evolve and grow. And it can be tremendously anxiety provoking. However, coming back to this concept, home is inside me, we can find anchors about who we are. We may have certain foods that comfort us, that come from our cultural background. We may have certain prayers or certain rituals that give us tremendous comfort when we are growing and when we are in new surroundings where we don't exactly fit in, so to speak. And that can happen so many times in life. So I want to encourage people to explore their backgrounds wherever they're from and bring it to the table and ask questions. Who am I? I think it can be especially important to first-generation children of immigrants whose parents came from different countries like Nigeria, like Wales, like India or China, and the children are born in America. They have original cultural roots in different countries, but they're American. And these days, what is an American? You could go on the internet and get totally confused and sucked into any kind of argument based on victimhood or hate. Or you could spend some time with yourself developing your beliefs, talking through them with a trusted individual or family member, and finding out, what are the stories from my background that help me exist in the world. I realize that a lot of this is really abstract, but I'm going to encourage you to think largely about the concepts that make you you and bring you home to yourself when you're in an unfamiliar environment. It's not a 10-point bullet point series that will create you, but the ability to question and the ability to get information from different sources. And lastly, I'm going to encourage you to get off the couch, open the door, and see the world. Give yourself that opportunity. And thank you for your attention and your time, leaving you in this brilliant, beautiful environment and sending you a lot of care and good vibes to discover your true self.